Welcome at a Blender Out to Make, and for today, besides modeling these play bricks, we are going to end up making this whole scene. For the people that are new to Blender, I recommend you to go to my easy/medium tutorials first. Before we start, I'll show you what you will learn for today. Advanced modeling while using a mirror modifier, smart copying objects for better data sharing, using focus and filmic for a better end result, when to use an array modifier and when not to, and parenting objects. As always, I got a small display down here, so if I would press G, it shows that I have pressed G, in case you miss something. And I'm going to delete this cube, and I'm going to delete this lamp. I'm going to put this on cycles render already, and or I'm going to change the timeline to 1, since we only want one picture to be popped out. In this case, we are going to work on grid mode as much as possible. And I'm going to spawn in a circle for the top knob of our play brick. I'm going to give it different values. Give it a value of 8. And I'm going to give it a size of 0.880. The reason for that is we're going to give our brick a thickness of 2 blocks wide. And if we would put in a subdivision surface and put this on 2, you can see it's 2 blocks wide. Of course, in the end, we're going to render this on 3, so it looks a lot more smoother. But for now, I'm just going to keep the view on 2. The next thing we're going to do is give this a height. And in edit mode of front view, we want to give this a height of 4. I'm going to press E and I move it up 4 of these blocks. And we want to give it some smooth options. The way we do that is by pressing Ctrl R. And make this line, put this one up on the top. And I want to have this one block, and the one on the bottom is going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to give this 2 blocks. It will make sense a little bit later on. In this case, we want to fill in the top. I'm just going to hold Alt and select the top line. Then from the top view, pressing E, press S for scale, hold your Ctrl and just move it inwards once. Press E again, press S and just move it something like this. Press F to fill in this gap. And before continuing, I'm just going to press A to select all. Then go to Shading UV and press Recalculate. I'm going to get out of edit mode and give this a smooth look. So now you can see that from the side view, we gave it some smooth options down here. And I'm just going to put one down here in the middle. In another video, I will explain you more about this subdivision surface and why sometimes you have to put one in the middle too. For now, we also want to give it a smooth option at the side. So I'm going to hold Alt and select the line at the bottom. Then I'm going to go to top view. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to press E. I'm going to press S for scaling. I'm not going to hold Ctrl this time. I'm just going to move it up until this line down here. And I'm going to select all. And press G to move this offside, and I'm going to move it all the way down here. So in this case, we are going to use a mirror modifier. So I'm going to go to Add Modifier, select Mirror, and I'm going to turn on Y2. And then I'm going to Shift D for duplicating this and put one up here, just like so. And I'm going to press B for a direct selection box, and I'm just going to select everything on the other side of the red line. Press X and delete these vertices. Now if it looks weird like this, that means your mirror modifier have to be on the top, and now you can see it's good. Now before we're going to do something with this gap down here, we're going to spawn in a plane, and we're just going to move this plane down here. Then we're going to select those two and this dot. Press X and delete them. Yeah, select this dot. I'm just gonna go to front view. Then Shift duplicate because we're going to need this dot here too. And just place it until it's in the middle. Then on top view, I'm gonna use B for drag selection box. Select all of them. Press F to fill in the gap. But most of the time you want to make sure you always got 4 dots connected. And if it's not possible, you need to do 3 of them. Not too bad of a thing. Now you want to select this dot that we left off here. Press E and you want to move it up until here. Do this again until here. Do this corner. There we go. press E, and we're just gonna do this all the way around. And then I'm going to show you how to fill in the blank. And one more over here towards the middle. Now before continuing and filling in the gap, first want to give the outer line some smoothness options. I'm going to go to front view and then make sure that select from view is turned off. So when I make a drag selection box with B, all of these dots are selected. And then I'm going to move this towards the middle of this cube down here. If you can see it, I will zoom out. You can now see it's in the middle. Then I'm going to press E to extrude this to the side, and you should see this. Then from the side view with numpad 3, we're going to unselect and select these ones down here. I'm going to move this up to the middle. As you can see, it's now in the middle. If you use Blender for a long time, you will know this by feeling. So now you should have this. I'm just going to go to the top view. Now you see we already give it a smooth option. Will make sense later on. I just don't know how to call it. So now I'm going to select this dot down here. I'm going to press Shift D. I'm going to move this dot over here so I know for sure it's on the grid. Now all we have to do at this moment is fill in the gap. I'm going to select this dot down here and I'm going to hold Shift. Select the other dots. I'm going to make sure you have 4 dots and then press F to fill in the blank. This is something we're going to do everywhere, like so. Press F, fill in the gap. Select some more of these dots, like so. Press F. I'm just going to do these all and then I'll come back to you, just like so. This is what you should have. The next thing we are going to do is hold Alt and hold your Shift. And we're going to select this line and this line. Then from the front view, you want to press E for extruding. Place it until the half of this cube. Then press E again. Just move it 2 big cubes to the bottom. Then press E to fill in the blank. But the smoothness of this down at the bottom should be way lesser. So I'm gonna hold Alt and select, make sure I got everything. Then I'm just gonna place it down until it's the size of 2 small blocks. So in this case we have modeled the outside of our play brick. And now we are going to model the inside, but before doing that we want to make sure this is not in our way. So I'm going to select all with A, and then I see I've missed something down here. I'm just going to select B, just remove those. Select A for everything. Press G, and I'm just going to move it all the way down here. So when we press numpad 1, it's not in our way. Numpad 3, it's not in our way. So the inside of our play brick is going to have multiply circles. In this case, we're going to make the middle one first. Shift A, add in a circle. We leave the value of 8, but we're going to change the size. We're going to change it to 0.660, a little bit smaller. And or we want to make sure that it's 2 blocks down. Because like I said, we're going to give our brick a thickness of 2 blocks. It counts for the sides as well as for the top. And or from the top view, and zoom in a little bit, we're going to press E, then press S. And move it in once while holding your control, like so. Then I'm going to select all of these, go to the front view, press E for extruding, and just move it all the way to the bottom. And now it might look weird. Well, that's because of this mirror modifier. If I unselect it, it looks good. If I select it, it looks weird. There is a reason for that. I'm not going to go through it right now. Just gonna finish this off. So we also want to give this some smooth options, right? The first thing we have to do is remove the top, because we don't need top. Just gonna select all, press E, just move it down here, press X, and delete these vertices. Now our top is open. There are reasons for that. From the front view, we want to give this, like I said, some smooth options. Now, if you press Ctrl R, you move your mouse left and the right, you can see it gives 2 ways. This is for the inside, this is for the outside. We're first gonna do the inside. Gonna drop it, and then, oh, that's weird, it's a reverse. Oh well, I'm just gonna place it at the top, and then I'm going to move this 2 blocks down. I want to do the same as for the bottom. It's really weird how that is reverted. I have no clue why it's doing that. I never had that before. I'm gonna give this a thickness of 2 small blocks, and then, like I said before, 1 in the middle. I'm gonna do the same for the outside. Press R. See, and now it's moving with me. Place it on the top. Zoom in. 2, and another one. Bottom. Just gonna move it all the way down, and then move it up 2, and I want to have 1 in the middle. Just like so, and when we turn off the mirror, it looks all nice and fine. Now there is only 1 more to be done at the bottom here. Just gonna press Ctrl R and just place it in the middle. Now before continuing doing something else, we also want to make sure this is closed off and we have 1 off to the side. So first, hold your Alt and select the top line inside, like so. Press E, press S. Hold your Ctrl, I'm just gonna move it 1 inside, press E, press S, and then just like before, and press F to fill in the gap. Now select one of the outside top lines, hold the Alt, select one of these lines, go back to top view. This time I'm going to zoom in, then press E, press S for scaling, and I'm just gonna put it down here at this line. And it's a good moment to just save up your work. I'm going to turn on my mirror again, and I'm going to select these ones. I'm not going to put this on the place yet because we need to make 1 more circle. So I'm just going to drop it something like down here. Now the other circle will be the one that's coming underneath this one. So let's spawn in another circle. We leave this on 8, and we're going to give this one a value of 0.440. And this time, we want to put this down here and just ignore the model at the front. While you still have this circle selected, press E and make it 2 blocks high. Now we're going to give it some smoothness already. Just like so. Put it on 2 blocks. Going to do that again. 2 blocks and 1 in the middle. Going to do a little bit different. Going to still select the top line. This one needs to go inside. So press E, S for scaling, hold your Ctrl, just move it once. E, S, and F. So now we're gonna make the outline. Actually, it's the same like these knobs. Now select the line at the bottom. Go to the top view. Press E, press S. Just give this one off. 3 will be fine. So now we have fixed this up. I'm gonna give everything his place. You just have to look at this one. This one has a side of 6 blocks. 2 wide, 3 high. This one needs to get underneath this. I'm just going to select them all and then move these up until here. Then duplicate and put 1 up here. And or I'm going to select this thing down here. I should have gave it a little better place, and I'm just going to move this up in the middle of this, and or we're going to remove some parts. Since it's mirrored, we don't need this side. I'm just going to select a few and delete this, and also this one here, and do the same at this one and remove it. Now as before, we have 2 gaps. We're going to fill this in. Going to add in a plane, but this time I'm not going to move it to the outside. I'm just going to move it 2 blocks inside, because this is the inside of our brick. Will make sense in a second. Remove these ones again. I'm going to select this dot and move it down till here. Then I'm going to duplicate this dot, put this one here. I'm going to duplicate this dot again, put it down here, and then from the top view I'm just gonna move it in this circle, and like before we're going to fill in the gap just like so. just like so. So now once again, select this dot, press E to extrude, place these in the middle, place these over here, and then keep in mind 2 blocks up all the way around until here. I just need to take 2 for a second. Then I'm going to duplicate this dot and place 1 down there. This is what you should have. It might be possible that I'm removing this later on. So before we're going to fill in the gap, we want to make sure again we give this a smoothness option already. I'm just going to select this dot. This time I'm not going to go to the middle, but I'm going to give this thickness of 2 blocks. Through this like so. Then from the side view, same for this one. Select them all, move them 2 offside. Then this is what you should have. Now let's fill in the blank, and this is going to be a little bit different than before because we have an extra circle down here. So which in case means we're going to need to use a face of 3. Makes sense. I'm just going to select these dots, press F to fill in the blank, and now we have 1, 2, 3. So this one will be a 3 face on a triangle. Going to take these 2 dots, this dot, this one all the way down here, press F to fill in blank. Going to select these dots, press F to fill in the blank, these dots, fill in the blank, like so, and it looks weird. Press A, recalculate, and it looks better. Yeah, now like I said before, I might need to remove this because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but I got this dot left. So I'm just going to remove this dot. I'm going to give this a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill in the blank. I'm just going to do that with all of these. And this should be your result. Just like so. Now I'm just going to go out of edit mode and I'm just going to click on smooth. And this is what you should have. Now we're going to do the same as before. Hold Alt and Shift. Select this line, select that line. I'm going to give this a smoothness option of 2 blocks, like so. And put this thing all the way to the bottom. I'm going to zoom in, then make sure 1, 2, 1, 2. Once again, 1 in the middle, and I see I forgot 1 here too. Just going to put 1 in the middle too, just like so. Now it's getting kind of exciting because we're going to select this part. Then press G and hold the Ctrl, create movements, and place it down there. Just gonna go out of edit mode, and our brick is getting shaped. But there is one more thing to be done, and that is here at the bottom. So in edit mode, what I'm going to do is first select these 2 dots. It will make sense later on. Then I'm going to press numpad 3 for the side view. I'm going to press G, and I'm going to move these dots until these 2 and let go. You can see it's just before the corner. I'm going to do the same with these ones, and this is neat in order to model this the correct way. I'm going to press G, and I'm going to move this up till this line just before the corner. Select all, go to tools, remove doubles. Hold Alt and hold Shift, select this line and this line. Then we're going to duplicate what we have selected, and we're just going to place it down here. So now we need to fill in the gap. First thing we're going to do is give this some smooth options. I'm going to select those underneath, then go to the side view, extrude this and bring this to this dot over here, like all doubles. Then we're going to do the same from the front view. We're going to select these outer ones, extrude, place it onto these dots, select all, remove doubles. This is what you should have. I'm going to do the same for the inside. And it might be a little bit confusing. Here's the dots are facing the other way. So you need to have these dots. Select them, move them out too, and go to the front view. Select those 2 dots, move this till here, and this is what you should have. Now once again it looks weird. Select all, shading UVs, recalculate, like so. Now the next thing we're going to do is extrude 1 dot. You can press Z so you can see through. Select this dot, press E and move this up to the corner of this cube from the grid. Now select these ones and extrude this to the middle. Zoomed in for a bit, just like so. And we're gonna do the same over here. Select these ones, zoom in, extrude till here, and extrude again towards here. Select all, remove doubles. Now it's gonna get a little bit complicated. You will get something glitchy out here, but I also show you how to fix it. It's actually not a mistake, it's just something that is normal. Now let's first select this dot and then a second this dot, and then merge these 2 together as last. Then for this one at last. Like I said, you want to have a phase of 4 dots as much as possible. So what we could do here is select those 2, press F to fill in the gap. Like I said, it's gonna look funny. Then select those 2 dots, this one and this one, press F, fill in the gap. I'm gonna make it look nice. Then select these dots and these outer ones, press F to fill in the gap. And we're gonna make it look nice, because the reason why it looks funny is because these 2 dots are too far ahead from the corner. Just gonna select this dot and press G. Just gonna move it down here so it's 2 blocks ahead from the corner. Just gonna do the same with this one. Just like so. It's so from this one to this one it's 2 blocks. Right? This is what you should have. And we're gonna do the same with the other ones. First things first, select this dot down here. Press E, move this out. Then select this other dot down here. Go down here, select those 2, press F to fill in gap. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys. Select this one, and this one. And this one. Press F again. And I'm going to select those 2 and those 2. Press F to fill in the gap. And I'm gonna select those 2. This one. This one. I hope you guys can follow it at least for a bit. And press F to fill in the gap. Now we're gonna do the same over here. I'll grab this one, press G. If you want to make sure it's on the right line, you can press Y. So it only stays on this line. And I'm going to hold Control. I'm gonna move it over here on this line. So it's 2 blocks ahead from the corner. I'm going to select this dot, press G, press Y. Place this one down here, so it's 2 blocks ahead from this one. And now the funny looking stuff is gone. It's a good moment to save up your work. And now from the top view, just gonna select all of this. And then move it onto grid while holding Control, just like so. What you should have, then unselect, select all, move doubles. And now straight away we want to make sure the color looks right, so I'm going to go to shading UV and click on recalculate. And now you can see if you go out of edit mode, it looks all fine and nice. Here we got our brick. So now we want to give it a name. You can give it your own name, or you can just give it a Blender name. I'm just going to spawn in a text. Just going to move this text until here, the side view. I'm just going to move it up. So I'm going to name it Blender. Then I'm going to go to F tab. Then we're going to modify this text for a bit. So I'm going to give this a size of for 0.4, and then I'm going to extrude this 0.02, so it has some thickness. I'm going to give this a depth, so it looks a little bit more fancier. I'm going to put this on 5, like so, and I'm going to put the resolution on just once. And you want to keep this low as possible, because if you're going to copy this plenty of times, it's gonna cost more memory. It won't show it up in here, but with memory I mean render memory. So when it's going to calculate everything in your scene, I ended up with 2 gigabytes of rendering memory. And that was also because I gave this cube a render of 4, and the higher you set this, the bigger your memory will be. So now we're gonna put this at this place, but first we want to give this a little bit of a share, right? I'm gonna put this share on 0.3, just like so. Just make it look a little bit fancier, and I'm not gonna change the font of it. You can do that if you like, and I'm just going to show you very easily how to place this correctly in the middle. Just select your brick, then unselect the subdivision surface, then press Z for wire mode, then select your text and just move it up here. So now you have these 2 lines down here. Let's focus on that. I'm gonna press G, hold Ctrl, just kind of move it like so. So I know it's in the middle of this. From the side view the same, we only have this middle line, have 2 blocks here and 2 here. I'm gonna press G, kinda about move it like so. So when I go to the top view, press Z to unwire it, select this, unselect this, and clearly see it's nice in the middle. Now before I was saying you will learn how to perfect copy things so it shares the data better. The point is, we only want to select when we do the colors. We want to select one of these text, give it the color, and make sure all of these text will change the color instead of doing everything separately. So instead of doing Shift D to duplicate, which make a separate object, we're going to Alt D this text so it shares the same data. It's more like a clone technique instead of a copy technique, but program has such a thing. So now we have put this, just put this down once, so very good. So now we have placed these things down there. We want to make sure that these text will follow this brick. When we move this brick, the text will stay there, and it will cost extra work to move everything. So take care of that. Make sure you select all of your text, and then select this brick as last. Then press Ctrl P, and we're going to parent this to the object. So now if I only select this object and move it around, the text will follow. Now the next thing we're going to do is make the ground, as I like to call it. Now since we want to modify this brick, we're not going to clone it, but we're going to copy it. And I'm also going to take these text with it. So this, I'm going to select all of these, press Shift D instead of Alt D, press Escape to drop it, then press M and move it up to another room. So this is not in our way. And then I'm going to go to the other room, just like so. Very simple. Now before we're going to accept the mirror, first want to change this brick. Else we have to do multiply times. So in this case, I'm just going to select everything just underneath this top line, and press X and remove. I'm going to make a drag selection box. I'm just going to start out here and select these. But before deleting stuff, you want to make sure that the top circle is not selected. Like over here, press B, hold your Shift, so these one won't get unselected, and remove. Press B, hold Shift. This is everything you should have selected, and then press X and do these vertices. Now before continuing, we want to get rid of this smoothness option because we don't need that. I'm just going to select this one in the middle, move this offside. Again, from the side view, we want to do the same on the other side. Select these, move this to the outside. And then this is what you should have. Make sure to select everything and remove the doubles. So you remove 8 vertices. We're going to accept this mirror out edit mode. So now in edit mode we have this. So now we're going to work with array modifier. And what did I just do? There we go. I was pressing slash, and if you press slash, go to user ortho, and if you press it again, it's like you can see in the top here. So if by accident you won't see any stuff anymore, like this, press the slash button. I'm glad I found this. So we're going to use the array modifier. Once again, the array modifier should be on the top, like so, or else it will give you a warning when you accept it. So in this case, you want to make our plate, right? So if you do this, you get more. I'm just going to put this on 8, then I'm going to apply it. You want to make sure that in edit mode, you select all, and then remove doubles. I'm going to add in another array modifier, but this time we not want to go to the side, but we want to go to the top. So I'm going to put this on 0, and I'm going to put the Y on 1. So it's like this, and I'm going to give this a count of, well, let me just say 5, so it's a nice cube. Put it in the top, apply it, go into edit mode, select all, doubles. Now I'm going to show you that you cannot do the same with the text. I have been messing around for centuries trying to do the same with text, and I ended up with some numbers. Let me just say 1 was not enough. And then I put this on 1.001, and then it was just too far. So I could not fill in a number that was between the 0 and the 1, because a text is not a perfect square. And when you're working with perfect squares, it works, an array modifier. When you work with something that ain't a perfect square, you're going to mess around and mess around and mess around, and it's going to eat your time, and in the end you discover it's not going to work out. Still though, I did find a way how you could use this with a text, but you will have to make this text into an object, then go into edit mode, then add in a plane, and with this plane you could add in array modifier and then multiply them. But in the end, a text, what is made into an object, will cost more memory. When I selected all these text, it went insanely slow, so we're not going to do that. In this case, we're just going to do this manually. It takes a bit of work, but it saves a lot of messing around, so I'm just going to select all of these and press Alt-D, move this offside, and do the same. So it's done there. And yes, you will have to do this a few times, but what does it cost? Less than a minute. I'm going to select all of these from the side, like so. And I'm just going to do the same. Move them like so. This will just saves a lot of messing around. And it's done. I'm going to select all of these, and now you can see it's getting a little bit slower already. Like if you select all of these, you know, you get a little lag moment. So now I show you that parenting is a handy thing. This text and this cube is into our plate. If I would not parent the text onto the cube and I would move the cube, the text would stay on the place. And then you have to mess around selecting the right text and move it with the cube. But now I'm just going to select this cube from the front view, move it up, and the text moves with it. So that's very handy. So now we're going to set up this for a bit. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to select the camera. I'm going to move it up, something like this, and then move it to the side, something like this, and then move it down for a bit. You just want to make sure that this play brick is a little bit on the right side, and that this knob here is a little bit in the middle, because we're going to use this text down here for our focus. I'm just going to mess around, just kind of like this. I'm going to put this thing back, stay there. Now we're going to move this plate, and I'm just going to do it like this. Press G, press X, and then something like this. You just have to go forward and backwards. And or of course, I almost forgot, I want to give this camera a different angle. So press N to get this tool up here. You're gonna go all the way to the top and you're gonna go to rotation and change this to 4:5 and change this to 4:5. So now with this camera being selected, I'm just gonna remove until this thing is kinda in the middle again. Just like so, and it's good. And then press N to get rid of it so you have more working space. And then I'm going to select this plate again and move it a little bit down. You want to make sure the knobs of the plate and the brick is at the same level. So this looks fine for now. In this case, I'm first going to select brick and the text on it, and I'm going to Alt D this because we want to share the same color data, and I want to place it over here. And I'm just only going to select this cube, I'm going to move it sideways, and I just want to have it on the top of this text. I'm going to do this without holding Control, so like this would be fine. And then I'm going to go back to the camera, just gonna move this inside the scene, and I'm going to rotate, press Z, something like this, place it back, a little bit messing around, but get some nice results. Okay, something like that, etc, etc. So now we've done this, we're gonna give it some colors. We're almost done, guys. So first I'm going to select this cube down here. I'm gonna go to Material tab, and by default there is one material. I'm going to give this a note. Open the preview window, and I'm going to give this a yellowish orangey color. I like this yellow a lot instead of this yellow, a little bit orangey in it. And we're going to give it some glossiness. I'm going to move this up and go to node editor, zoom in for a bit, Shift A, go to shader, add in a mix shader, Shift A, and add in glossiness, and connect these up. And then I'm just going to move this back to the timeline because I don't need this anymore. I'm going to extrude these, and I'm going to give this mix a 0.1, and I'm going to give this glossiness a 0.075. And if you want to see how it looks, you just go to material, and there we go. Now, like I said before with this text, now since we have cloned our text, just simply select one of them and add in a material, and all of these will cooperate with it. Now I'm going to select the plate, I'm going to select this material, and then click on plus, so it's a new material. You can give it names if you want. In this case, we want to give it some green and make it darkish, just like so. I'm just going to put this circle near this ball and select text, give it this green material. Now, before I continue in adding in the rest, I'm first going to already fill in my options for rendering. If you want to know more about fast render settings and how to test it, click on the link on the top or go to my quick tip videos and you will find it down there. I'm going to change the light path to 4, and I'm going to change the performance for a number of this, and I'm going to change my CPU to GPU. And before I'm going to press F12, I first want to make sure that we have some light. I'm going to add in a plane. I'm going to go to the top view, and I'm going to move this plane to a different room because I like to work with stuff without everything in my face. I'm going to press S for scale, and I'm going to type in 4. Then into edit mode, I'm just going to move it down here. Duplicate this, select all, duplicate it like so. And then I'm going to place this back to this room. And then I'm just going to move this a little bit towards the camera like so. So the camera is here. And of course, how I always like to do it, I'm going to go into camera mode, then press G. Press G for up and down. And I always move it just above the camera until it passes it. Just like so. If I zoom out, you can see it's here. Before I start rendering anything, I go to Material tab, give it a new material, change the diffuse for emission, and I'm going to put the light on 1.5. If I press F12 right now, it will calculate some stuff. And my memory is 500 MBs, which will be shown up on the top. So after you render this, we're going to give it a little extra effect. I'm going to go to this Scene tab, go to Color Management, and I'm going to change this to Filmic. And straight away get a little bit lighter. Now if this Filmic is not in the list, then I can just simply say, when I open Blender just via the desktop, it's not in the list. But when I open Blender via Steam, it's always in the list. I'm not sure just yet why this is a thing. If I find out why, I will put a quick tip video online, which I explain you how to fix it. But in this case, let's continue the tutorial. You don't have to do this if it's not in the list. If it's not in the list, then yeah, bummer. And I'm pressing escape. So now we are going to add in a zoom. Now, like I said, we want to have this knob in the middle as much as possible. And I'm going to select this name. And in front view, I'm going to shift duplicate this. So it's a separated object. And or I'm just going to delete this one on the top. And I'm going to place this one back. And I'm going to give this a name. I'm just going to type in A. That's enough. I'm going to go back to the camera. And I'm going to select the camera, go to the camera tab. So down here at depth of field, you just open this, select the one you want to have your zoom on. And then I change the radius to f-stop and fill in 0.2. And then I'm going to press F12. And here I got my scene. If you've got some questions or a request, then comment below. If this video was useful, then like and subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.